Hello everyone, I'm Steven. Last year I shot a video about Datong. I said I would introduce two temples in Datong. One is ShanHua Temple, and the other is Huayan Temple. Why haven't I edited these two videos for so long? Actually, I'm very distressed. There are a lot of videos on the internet that introduce these two temples, but I've been thinking about which angle I should talk about these temples from, because I don't want to do repetitive content. Recently, I suddenly realized why I like these two temples, and it should be the place that other videos have not covered. So today I can finally make this video and tell you that these are the two temples in China that I recommend the most. Let's talk about ShanHua Temple today. I actually stayed in Beijing for a long time, and there are actually many temples in Beijing. Many Chinese people will visit various temples to pray, bless, or on special days. I actually didn't have any feelings about these temples in Beijing. Until I went to Nara and Kyoto later, I suddenly discovered when I was visiting Nara that temples can be so quiet. It is hard to find a place in Chinese temples that can calm your heart. Because before I went to Japan, I subjectively thought that temples were places to pray to God. After I went around Nara and Kyoto, you can see that their buildings are all some buildings left over from the Tang dynasty. When I returned to Beijing, they were mainly Ming and Qing dynasty buildings. I suddenly realized that I really don't like Ming and Qing dynasty buildings. That kind of cumbersome design and pattern, it can't make me calm down, and I can't integrate into that environment. Of course, there are many good places in Beijing, but the temples in Nara are very well preserved and maintained. They don't have the particularly large fireworks and market feeling in Chinese temples. Then I want to talk about ShanHua Temple. I came to Datong by chance, and I came to Datong just because I was passing by. At that time, the city wall of Datong had not been built yet, and I accidentally discovered ShanHua Temple. It is difficult to describe the feeling. When I walked to the front of its mountain gate, I was instantly attracted. Because at that time, its mountain gate was not surrounded by a fence like it is now. There would be a lot of local people in front of its mountain gate, like a place for the elderly to play chess and enjoy the cool. Then I arrived in the afternoon. When the sun was about to set, it was very beautiful. When you see those elderly people sitting in front of the mountain gate, when the sunset shines in front of the mountain gate, I was instantly attracted. This is the atmosphere I can't feel in the temples in Beijing. Of course, his mountain gate is very unique, because there should be no such large mountain gate in China, but this Qing dynasty building was completely sealed in the Ming dynasty. Then you will find that this temple completely exceeds my previous understanding of Chinese temples. It is really very quiet, and there are not so many people. I don't know if it is because it is free or because there are no monks in it. It may also be because I went there late, from 4 to 5 in the afternoon. So there are not many tourists in the whole ShanHua Temple, and the quietness will immerse you in it immediately. There are also a few buildings from the Jin and Liao dynasties that have been preserved. In fact, if you look at the information about the buildings from the Jin and Liao dynasties, you will find that they were built by workers from the Song dynasty. It is actually a Song dynasty structure. It was not until I saw the ShanHua Temple that I realized that the architecture of the Song dynasty was much more majestic than that of the Qing dynasty. Whether you look at its specifications, eaves, or brackets. I am not an expert, but I can clearly feel that it is much more beautiful than the architecture of the Qing dynasty. It has a kind of spirit. Although it is not so exquisite, it can make you feel the spirit of that dynasty at once, which is different from the Qing dynasty and the Ming dynasty. ShanHua Temple gave me a very good feeling. Walking further in, until I saw the Buddha statue in the main hall, I instantly fell in love with this place completely. Because I actually think that I am a person who is a little sensitive in aesthetics. When I went to Mogao grottos before, I knew nothing about Buddha statues. Until I saw the broken-armed Bodhisattva statue from the Tang dynasty in Cave 45 of Mogao grottos, I was instantly shocked. You can feel that the artistry of Buddha statues is different. Such a beautiful Buddha statue is still preserved in Mogao grottos. Until I came to ShanHua Temple and saw the Buddha statues inside, it was indeed different from the Buddha statues in other temples. Although it did not reach the kind of shocking beauty, it was obviously more vivid and exquisite than our modern Buddha statues. This is what I felt at the time. When you visit ShanHua Temple, although the area of the entire temple is not very large, you can see the vegetation of the entire temple with these ancient buildings. When you sit inside, you can get a great mental relaxation. It is much better than going to those temples with a lot of market. I really don't like those temples with market, because you will find that people who go to those temples have no faith, and they don't go there to find peace. When visiting those temples with a particularly strong atmosphere of fireworks, I even feel that this is a trading place. It cannot sublimate your own soul, or a place where you can immerse yourself. Of course, many temples may not have that function. But what I want to say is that if you come to ShanHua Temple, this is a very good place for you to calm down and understand yourself, or it has a kind of ability to calm you down. These trees, these buildings, these Buddha statues, and its sense of history can make you immersed in it. If you are willing to bring a cup of tea and sit here to drink it slowly, that feeling is much better than going to other temples in China that are full of incense. So this is why I always think that ShanHua Temple is the reason why I really like it so much. Of course, I have come here more than once. If I hadn't met ShanHua Temple by chance, I wouldn't know that there is such a good place as Datong. If there was no ShanHua Temple, I wouldn't know that there is Huayan Temple. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. Gung Yanbo again. If it weren't for him, ShanHua Temple might look different. I can think of it now. In fact, the citizens of Datong are very lucky, just like the mood I had when I saw those elderly people playing chess in front of the mountain gate. The sunset shining on the mountain gate is very beautiful. You can enjoy a very good time here. Then I also think that ShanHua Temple gives the city of Datong a sense of luxury. Just like the feeling I had when I went to Nara. If Nara didn't have those temples, I don't know what the meaning of Nara is. If Datong didn't have ShanHua Temple and Huayan Temple, the whole Datong would lose its luster. I'll talk about this today. If I have time, I will do another issue of Huayan Temple. That temple is also my favorite. Of course, its temperament is completely different from ShanHua Temple. Goodbye.